Welcome, everybody, to the F Yeah Bro podcast. My name is Todd Kelly, the writer and creator of Project Titans and Atlas Rising. I am here today with our excellent team that's going to bring you a fantastic interview. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Mr. Nick, take it away.
Hey guys, this is Nick again. I assist Todd with the Project Titans website and assist him with the sales team at the shows. I do working into the social media stuff, so getting there.
You close a lot of sales.
Hey, I try.
You do great. Thank you for that.
And I'm Angel. So thanks for coming back for another episode. I mean, we've done multiple episodes now. This is awesome. I am the resident, the resident uneducated comic person here for moral support, for comedic relief. So hang in there. This will be a good one.
And you also bring the good hair. 2 of the 3 episodes. So
yeah,
beautiful, lush hair.
Yeah, you bring the good hair. All right, so our guests with us today, I'll let them introduce themselves in a second, but I know them as our table mates at our first show. They were our neighbors, and were just very hospitable and one of the best neighbors that you could have at your first show. So I know them as Trace and Leanne, but I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Go ahead, Trace. Trace part of Trace and Leanne.
So I'm Trace, aka Pendragon, and then this is Leanne, aka Nella, and we're Nella and Pendragon Art. We are 2 convention artists that go around to different anime and comic book shows throughout like Florida, and then as of last year started traveling and stuff throughout the U.S. to go to shows. So that's what we do.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Congratulations. So again, we met a few years ago at our first show. And so for you guys, again, so it was our first, so it was that Infinity Toying and Comic-Con. But you guys had already been doing it for a little bit. So kind of talk to me a little bit about your start and kind of what that was like. You know, you guys do this full time now, which again, congratulations. It's freaking awesome. But let's take it back to kind of that first show. What did that first show look like?
Man, you got to go a little bit further back.
Yeah. So like I was attending just like as a person at comic book convention, especially at like MegaCon, which is like a big show here in Florida since 2014. Where like I got to meet a couple of like artists that I really looked up to, and my dad took me, and then we went every year since then with like a handful of shows kind of in between, like smaller ones here and there. So then when me and Leanne started dating,
real quick, I went to one. I went to MegaCon, and I was very big into like a lot of the fandoms, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. But I didn't know anything about the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But go ahead, continue.
So then like me and Leanne, we started dating in December 2016. And then 2017 we graduated high school in June or something. And then
whenever you graduate.
Yeah. And like the year
as long as you didn't or something when you guys started dating, you're good.
Wait, what was that?
As long as you knew when you guys started dating yourself.
Yeah. December 2016. I'm good.
Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, I don't remember exactly what show it was at, but I was at some show with my dad in 2016, and I talked to one of the artists there, and like, oh yeah, like buying a table, was like a little difficult for the show. I was like, what do you mean like buy a table? Because up to that point, I thought that everybody, like every artist there was like requested to be there. I thought they got invited and they got the table. It was like, oh no, like you fill out a form and like pay for it, you get a table. I was like, holy, like no way, that's insane.
Like, that's my in.
Yeah. So then there was like this little tiny like second year show called Claremont Comic-Con that was going on in 2017. So I booked that show. And then, like I said, me and Leanne had been dating for, a couple months at that point. So I was like, hey, do you want to do this show with me? Like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, I don't have enough art to fill up a full table. Like, I have a binder. And like, that's all that I had at the time of prints I bought from Walgreens. So she was like, yeah, like, of course, like, I'd love to do it.
Prepared at all. I was like, how do we get people to look at our table? So I went in a Harley cosplay.
Yeah.
And we put out a free candy basket, and I made the sketchiest free candy sign, and nobody wanted to take our free candy.
There's some similarities there.
But I mean, to be fair, like we had just turned 18 and like had just booked our first table, like just graduated high school. Like we had no idea what we're doing. I should have had a better idea. since I went to so many comic book conventions. Like I should have known what people had at a table, but I never really thought about it.
At that point, like there wasn't as many resources as there are now online. Like now there's like networks of like Artist Alley people who are like, hey, here's where I get stuff. At that point, you looked it up and it was like maybe one YouTube video.
Yeah, like it's still not great. If you go on YouTube and you look up like how to start, like selling your art at Comic Cons, like nothing pops up. And then if they do, they're like the worst edited videos like put together.
Or you have to pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we did Claremont Comic Con 2017 in like November, like the very end of the year, and had the most like rinky dinky little setup with like we had 2 binders and then I think like some like frame like standees that we just had like some prints that we bought at Walgreens that we put up in it. I made like $120 or something, and I thought that was like the craziest thing in the world that I made $100 like at a show.
He cried in the parking lot, and I will not forget.
Yeah, dude, I was so excited about that. I was like, I made money.
You
like,
said I'm an artist now.
Yeah,
I'm an artist.
He's a professional artist now.
Yeah. And like, thankfully, our booth neighbor, Lazaro is his real name. Goes by Bot10 Art on like Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, like everything else. But thank God for that man, because he helped us out so much. Like after that, we had so many questions, and he was like, look, you got to buy this for display, this for display. This is the website I get this from. This is where I get my prints, and gave us like all of like the basic information that we needed to like get better. And we took all of that to heart and like went and bought everything he recommended, checked out all the websites, and then had a lot better of a setup for MegaCon, like what, 6 months later?
Yeah, MegaCon was our second show, which I don't know why we did that.
I was about to say, so you went small for your second show. Cool.
Yeah, we went from like a $70 table at like a little one-day show, which their second year doing it, straight to MegaCon, which was this giant 4-day show with like a much more expensive table that's been happening for like 20-something years by that point.
Like MegaCon tables are very expensive right now, but the year that we started, it was like we were both going to get 4-day passes anyways because I wanted to go again, and he was like, let's go. And it was like $50 more if we just bought a table, and I was like, let's just buy a table, like
because I was like, at that point, if we sell $50 worth of art, then we're already broken even. We were going to be spending that much money anyways. So that's our like logic behind like dropping a bunch of money on the show. So we like bought the table and everything, and then had, which is like, you can't do that now. Like you can't apply for MegaCon in like November and then expect to get in for their March show. Like they're too overbooked now. But at the time we were somehow able to get a table in like last minute like that. Because like immediately after Claremont Comic Con, we booked MegaCon. And then went straight in for that one, which was insane.
Nice. What made you guys want to be artists and sell art?
Well, you I feel like you have more of a vision than I do.
Yeah,
go ahead first.
So like for me personally, like I always grew up being very nerdy. Like I played Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh as a kid. I like read, Marvel and DC comics. I watched anime. Like I was into like I played a ton of video games. Like I was into all of like the individual nerdy things. And I remember when I was like 4 or 5, like I really loved the artwork on the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, like the Dark Magician Girl and like the Blue Eyes Dragons and stuff. So I started to like recreate the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like I'd sit there and try and draw them. And I had my art teacher at the time, Mr. Keith, in like 2nd and 3rd grade or whatever. He's actually the same art teacher my mom had, because we grew up in a very small town in Alabama. So this dude's been teaching for like 50 years at that point. Taught my mom and then taught me. And he was great because like anytime you had any questions about anything, so I was like, oh, like how do you draw like Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh? And he would like pull up a photo of him like on the computer and be like, oh yeah, I can do that. And then would like show me how to do it and everything. He was a really big like inspiration. He was a super cool person in general. So then like from then, my dad bought me like Ultimate Fantastic Four comics, and I really liked the artwork in there. Thank you, Adam Kubert. So I started like drawing Fantastic Four stuff, and it just kind of kept going. So since like elementary school, I've always wanted to be an artist. I originally wanted to be like a comic book artist, like a sequential artist. But then as I got into high school, I found out I liked more of like general illustration and a little bit more like graphic design elements rather than that sequential, like got to draw a page every month, of like these action scenes and this and that. So it kind of changed as time went on. But I've known since like elementary school that I wanted to make art my like job, like make that my career somehow.
Imagine having your stuff to together.
So as mentioned before, sorry, I have to ask the hard-hitting questions. You mentioned earlier free candy at the table. What candy was in the bowl? Because that's going to determine what made or break. Do you remember what candy was in the bowl?
I'm pretty sure it was like Dum Dums or something.
Yeah,
it was like a
I feel like
lollipop.
it was like Dum lollipops and like it was like hard candy.
Yeah, if we were smart about it, and we had gotten like Snickers or Kit Kats, like the chocolatey, like little bite size, like fun size candy, I feel like we would have gotten more attention from that. But we had like hospital candy in there, which definitely didn't help at all.
Oh man. Yes. I just had to ask because I know there's people listening that what candy was in there?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I could find the photo.
Funny enough, exactly what was in it. I posted a TikTok being like, our first convention versus our most recent, like all the growth, and then people were like, "Where's the free candy bowl now?
Yeah,
why don't we have one?"
They're like, "Bring back the free candy."
So people do ask about it. Thank you.
That's funny.
I feel like we're all over the place. What was
when did you know you wanted to start making art?
Like
as your career?
So growing up, I wasn't even like super into anime or anything. I had a DS, and like with the DSi, I would go on Flipnote and like try to draw little animations and stuff because I was like, "Yo, it's the DS!" Like I thought it was so cool. And then my family was like, "You think you can draw?" Right? So I went into like film and TV production instead, and I had like a huge like I was invested for like 4 years, like all of high school, doing like state sponsored like PSAs and stuff like that. I was doing stuff with like Bright House at the time. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be like a broadcast like news journalist, all this stuff. And then Trace was like, hey, like, because like we would always draw anyways because I just enjoyed drawing, and he was like, do this convention with me, and I was like, damn, this actually makes money. Screw TV. I was like, this is my job now.
Like, damn, I made $50 in one day. Like, I'm done with everything else.
You know how much I had made with TV? Zero.
So, what is what's the setup look like now? Like, how different is it from when you guys started to where you're at now?
Oh man, so like when we started, like I said, it was like 2 binders, a free candy bowl, and a couple of like little 4x6s on like Dollar Tree like stand-up frames.
We had our stuff separated too.
Oh yeah, that's also true.
Nella, and then we had Pendragon, and it was like our own business cards there, and you're like, yeah, like, and then people would be like, who drew this then? And I'd be like, oh, this right side of the table's me, the left side is great.
Yeah. And then we technically did free comic book day in between that and MegaCon, which was like a couple hour like little 1-day show thing. And at that show we still had our stuff separated, and then after that, I think from MegaCon on, we were like, let's just put this together. Like we still kept it kind of like most of the stuff on the right is one person, most of the stuff on the left is the other, but like immediately after that we were like, this is too confusing. Like we're only gonna do shows together, we're just gonna like put everything together and then take the money at the end and then just divide it. But like now we obviously like we share money and like everything, so like it doesn't matter now, but at the time there was like probably about a year there where like we were kind of dividing everything still a little bit, but now it's all one company together.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was like little 1 table 6-foot show like setup, and then now almost every setup that we do is like 12 to like 16 feet. We either have like a premium Artist Alley end cap, which is like 2 6-foot tables on the end. We have like a big backdrop and professional like
we have posters now.
Yeah, now we've got posters.
We
have small prints, large prints. They're printed on an actual like artist grade paper and not like Walgreens photo stock. We've got like waterproof stickers, and we have like we custom made these giant banners that we drape and hang off of the sides of our booth with our characters and logos and stuff on it with all of our info. We have like legit business cards and postcards we give out, bags that are like stamped for our logos. Like it's a much, not just like bigger, but like more professional, more like well-rounded out setup. We have like our branding colors that we color code everything with and stuff, and we really try and make it a little kind of like experience when you come up to our table. Everything fits and is themed together.
Well, you guys do the t-shirts now too, right?
Yeah, that's true. We also do. Yeah.
Hold up.
Yeah, go grab one. We
product placement.
What was it? Oh,
product placement.
So yeah, like now. Oh, is it inside out?
No, it's a blank one.
No, it's inside out.
Oh, okay.
He was like, "Why is this so faded?" But yeah, so technically I first tried in 2019 to do screen printing, but I tried to like DIY it at home with like not the right materials and it didn't work out. And then like that, and then on the back.
It's all wrinkly. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm all wrinkly. It's all really long about it.
But yeah, so last year I decided to give it another shot. So we were doing a lot of like outdoor markets. Conventions weren't really happening in the beginning of the year, so we switched over to doing some markets because those were still popping up. And I wanted to start screen printing again, so I found a company that would make the screen for me. So I would design it, I'd send them the file, they would burn it, and then I would just have to print it myself at home. So I started doing that. With just like all of our t-shirts are all original designs and characters. We don't put any fan art or anything on them because like companies get weird with copyrights with like that kind of stuff.
Imagine that.
Yeah. It's because prints they don't care about. They don't really sell prints.
Like
closest thing they'll sell posters. But t-shirts, they sell a lot of t-shirts. They're like, we don't want you like stepping on our toes there. So all of our shirts are all original designs and characters. But yeah, we got into that last year. And then by now, like we now have an art studio with a couple friends, like solely dedicated to screen printing. That way we can make all of our t-shirts. Yeah, we make ours like it's all 100% handmade now. So like we buy blank t-shirts and then we tie-dye them and bleach them. We come up with a design, we print it, burn it onto the screen, and then print the t-shirts all like in-house at home now. So they're all completely hand done.
I will never forget when I figured out that you guys had the t-shirts because I think it was at Tampa Bay. And I think like Leanne was running behind or something, and it was just you, and you were trying to get set up. And I made the mistake of walking over and being like, "Hey, can I help you? Like, is there anything I can do?" And you were like, "Yeah, can you hang t-shirts?" And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And so here I am over here. He's like, "Yeah, just hang one of each one, like get them on display or something like that." And I'm like, "Wait, what? Like this feels like I'm back at American Eagle, like hanging t-shirts." Back up. But I remember as I was doing that, I'm like, "Holy crap! Every one of these is really cool. Like these are absolutely awesome." So.
Yeah, they do well. So I'm like,
yeah, dude. At Tampa Bay Comic-Con, at that show specifically, like we more than half of our total sales were off of t-shirts alone. Like people at Tampa loved our shirts and our design. We only had 3 designs at the time, and even then we were like low on like one of them. So we really only had 2 by the end, like by day 2 of the show. But people really liked our shirts at that point. That was like honestly, if that show didn't go so well, we probably would have stopped there. Like after that, but they did really well there and they kept doing good at the markets. It's like, all right, like this is a legitimate thing, I guess we're doing now. So now we're like screen printers.
Fun little side story. We decided to do the UCF like student like Wednesday market, and we did it the first week we did it, like it was amazing. It went really well. Like people were like getting the shirts and stuff. And I think it was like our 3rd time there. A guy, he's like skating by and he's wearing one of our shirts and he like skates and he stops and he sees us and he comes back and we're like, "Yo, you're wearing this shirt." And he was like, "I didn't even know you guys were gonna be here today." Yeah,
he's like, "This is legit like my favorite shirt I own now." And then bought a second shirt because that was the second week that we were there. Bought a second shirt and then he brought a friend with him. His friend brought a shirt, and then the next week he came back with 2 more friends, and all 3 of them bought shirts. So like at UCF, there's just a ton of people wearing our shirts now, apparently, like because people really liked them. So that was cool.
That's pretty awesome.
My wife would be proud. She's a UCF alum.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm actually. I just got re-enrolled. I'm gonna try and finish my bachelor's.
I'm so close to it done.
Awesome. Congrats.
Congrats.
Thank you. It's gonna be interesting.
What's been your favorite convention? I know you guys said you do it nationwide now since it's full time. What's been your favorite convention so far?
I am proud to say that earlier this year we got to go to Puerto Rico for the Puerto Rico Comic-Con they got out there, and that is by far our favorite show. It was our best-selling show, and we had the most fun, and we got to go and like travel. Like Leanne, she was born and raised in Puerto Rico, but I never got to go. So like thankfully,
surprise.
So like very thankfully the show did well enough where like it paid for all of our travel and like everything we wanted to do there. So we got to go to like El Yunque and like go through the rainforest and hit up all these like really like awesome places for food and just to kind of hang out, and got to go to a bunch of beaches. And then everybody at the convention was really nice. It was really funny.
I was gonna say that one was interesting because most people spoke like just Spanish.
Yeah.
So I'm out here like doing our pitch and everything, and they're like, "Oh, you both draw?" And like they turn to Trace and be like, they're like, he's just like staring at him like.
They would like ask me a question. I'm like making eye contact, and they're like, yeah. And then they like stop for a second, like they obviously just asked me a question, and I'm like.
Smiling.
I don't know, man. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry. And they're like, oh, like you don't speak Spanish? I'm like, no. They're like, oh, okay.
And a lot of them would switch to English or at least try.
At least like the younger, like people around our age, like they'd be able. I mean, they all like watch the same anime and like stuff that we do, and like all the comic books over there are all in English. They don't even have like they don't really sell comics in Spanish too often over there. So most people our age were able to like stop and talk. But anybody a little bit older than us, like most of them, it kind of like they would come up to me and I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, man, I can't. I have no idea."
Would have to translate.
Yeah, I'd have to get Leanne. Or we had her cousin's girlfriend was there like helping us out too, and she was awesome because like she sold our stuff better than we ever could. She was like, "This, like, you need this in your life right now. You need this, and if you get that one, you might as well get that one too." And it was like just like moving all of our products. So it got to the point where like I was just sitting. I swear to God, I was sitting on the floor in the corner, and they would just yell out whatever because we're like really busy. Like at points, like there was lines around our booth. Like we've never had it be like that before. Like I felt like a celebrity at one point. Yeah. So like they're just like yelling out like. I need, like, I don't know, like I need Batman, Spider-Man, and like Itadori. And I'm like, all right. And I'm like going through our like boxes of inventory and I'm grabbing it, signing it, writing it down for inventory, bagging it, and handing it off. And I was just sitting on the floor doing that for like 3 days straight as like everybody else like spoke Spanish and stuff and was like having actual conversation.
That's a great feeling.
Signing and handing stuff away. It was great.
Wait, y'all need to tell him that he needs to learn Spanish now. Bully him, please.
Do what you got to do, homie. It sounds like it worked out really well. What I was going to tell you was actually you need to get the cousin's girlfriend and get her to like come do other shows with you because it sounds like she was killing it.
We keep telling her if she moves to the U.S., like we are 100% hiring her to travel around and do different shows for us because she did such a good job.
Well, she's currently a business major and she's like extremely charming and like super sweet and everything in general. So I'm like, please just move over here, please.
And like she wants to move like over here. So if she does, like we've already told her, like you have a job. Like most of the schedule's free. It's gonna be a couple weekends, like every here or there, and we're gonna pay you to travel and you're gonna like go and sell stuff either with us or for us. Like doesn't seem like half a bad job to me.
Unfortunately, if she works in sales long enough, they will break her of that. But I hope she hangs on to this as long as possible.
Yeah.
See, we some shows we have like assistants and stuff like that, and we always tell them like beginning of the show, we're like, hey, I know conventions are fun, like conventions are a great time, but please, you're gonna have a miserable time at least at some point. Like,
like you're gonna be here for 10 to 12 hours a day for 3 to 4 days with like almost no sleep, and no matter how you feel. You have to talk and be charming to people, whether you feel depressed or like upset or whatever. Like you have to pretend to be happy while you're here. And they're like, "Oh, okay, like yeah, I could do that." And I'm like, "Okay,
yeah."
It's like the real world hitting them right there.
There are shows where I'll be like under the table crying, and I hear someone pop up, and I'm like, "Hey." I'm like, just get it together to the end of the show.
Well, and what's funny to me is that shows like that, I feel like it can just like take a complete 180 for you too, because like you'll just be having a bad show, and you're just like, oh man, like I really hope this turns around. You're trying to keep it positive. Like we'll go talk to each other sometimes. We're at the same show. It's like, yeah, it's gonna be great. Don't worry about it. And like as we're both walking away, it's like, yeah, the show sucks. Like what are we gonna do? But then at the same time, like you get like a little bit of momentum and you get a little bit of a line, and nothing attracts a line like a line, and then all of a sudden you get it rolling, and then all of a sudden you've had a good day. And like most of your day was garbage, but like you got a couple good hours in there, and those hours were good enough to get you over and make it solid.
I can't tell you how many times we like start a day, say the convention is 10 hours long. And we're like 5 hours in, we hit the halfway mark, and I'm like, dude, like these sales aren't cutting it. Like the show's not going to be good. Like what's going on? And then from like
every time.
And then from like hour 5 to like hour 7 is like the busiest I've ever been in my entire life. And we make back like 3 times the money that we thought we were going to for like the whole day in those 2 hours. And then by the time we leave, it was like, this show was great. Like, I had a good time. I just like lie to myself that way I'm back again next year.
I like to say we're for the most part like pretty optimistic, and we usually like don't let stuff happen to us. The only exception is if we're in Jacksonville, because it's Jacksonville.